In this masterclass, we get a marketing mogul to share us his Instagram secrets. Hey, what's going on, guys? Austin here with the Entrepreneur Alliance. Today, we have Rohan, who is coming from Vancouver. A lot of you guys know him as the marketing wizard online. This guy not only runs a huge consulting group where they manage over $15 million in total ad spend across all different niches. They help a lot of internet marketers do fulfillment, but also he's more recently known for having an incredible strategy for Instagram. And so that's what we're going to dive into today, is how to grow your business using Instagram marketing. We're going to talk about automations. We're going to talk about strategy. We're going to even talk about how to build up an account and sell it, and even how to use your own Instagram accounts to attract clients into your own business, whether they're consulting clients or you're just trying to build up and sell courses. And so all of this together, guys, is going to be a great masterclass. I'm super excited. I know Rohan really well myself. He's actually the guy that I personally outsource all of my marketing agency's work to. So we've been connected for a couple of years now, and I've seen him grow his Instagram accounts and just really kill it. So I'm excited for this one personally, but I know that you guys are going to get a lot of value out of this one too. So go ahead, put your phones away, turn your desktop on do not disturb mode or whatever you got to do. Put the distractions on the side and focus here for the next 30 to 45 minutes because Rohan's going to share a ton of valuable gold with us. So Rohan, as we get started, man, I'd love to kind of just fast forward everybody here onto your story and how did you get to the point you are today of managing $15 million in ad spend, being the marketing manager for so many influencers, and just really kind of being like this online guru?
Thanks guys for having me on today, Austin, specifically. Long story short, we'll get the boring part out of the way here. Long story short, right out of high school, graduated, went to school to be a commercial airline pilot. Spent $75,000 to $80,000 and realized that was more of a passion than it was a purpose that I wanted to go after. Dropped out of school, got into sales, did door-to-door sales, in-home sales, and then eventually stumbled upon digital marketing. Traffic was actually one of the first things that kind of intrigued me because coming from a door-to-door standpoint, everything is based on the numbers of the doors you hit and the people you talk to. And in marketing, traffic is pretty much numbers, is all it is. So mastered traffic. I've been running a agency now for a few years. As you know, you and I have worked together from with some of your clients and stuff, kind of working with small businesses. Like we all started at some point. I remember when Dave Rogan-Moser and the team, when they first started as well, and they were doing consulting back in the day. And you know, just watching every person in the industry grow into the person that they are. But the one thing that I've done over the time is just stay consistent with it, built a phenomenal name in the industry, partnered with a very, very good friend of mine, Matt Farmer from Toronto, Canada. Together, we've built this company, managed, like I said, last year alone. We did some calculations. It was just around the $15 million mark across Facebook, Instagram, Google, Twitter, Outbrain, Taboola, you name it. We've pretty much run ads on every paid platform. And one of the things that we took seriously last year, probably closer to, I'd say November, middle to the end of November, was Instagram influencer marketing. As you know, we worked on, actually what made me think about it was you and I worked on a client together that blew up because of an influencer marketing play that they did that I told them to do and help the company over the summer scale. I'm not sure if you want to talk about the company, I'll leave that up to you. But yeah, and then since then I've taken Instagram, built following. At one point we had about a following of around 1 million followers, recently sold a couple of those pages. So we're down a bit right now. And we'll talk about that too, as to, you know, what you do when you get to a point where you've got such a big following and people are paying you to buy your pages off of you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, guys, like no joke, Rohan's the real deal. When I got him, I think this is one of my first clients. Won't mention the name of the client, but basically they have a really cool product and we got it featured by Casey Neistat, who has, I don't know, something like 10 million or maybe even more than that followers on YouTube. And so just on that play alone, they made tens of thousands of dollars, along with a lot of other great strategies Rohan's put into our Facebook ads play and, YouTube pre-roll and all other kinds of stuff like that. So, yeah, dude. And also, I do follow some of your Instagram accounts that you manage, and those have probably 10x faster than some of the individual accounts, like your own account. I've seen like those business accounts are taking off, and that's why you're able to sell them so quick.
Yeah.
But dude, I've even noticed in the last 3 months, I'm looking at your account right now. You've grown like 15,000 followers in the last like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, I went from about 5,000 followers to about, I think I hit 20,000 last night. And it's just literally just staying consistent. We'll talk about the strategy behind it. And it's helped because now I'm looked at as an influencer, even though like in today's day and age, like 20,000 followers is not a lot, but 20,000 followers done properly in a market speaks volumes more than someone with even 100,000 followers that's got no following, that really has nothing to offer.
Yeah, so true. I mean, following is just a number. Remember that, like, that doesn't really mean money. Like, the more followers, like, so many companies have a lot of followers on Facebook, a lot of like Facebook likes and all that. It doesn't mean anything if they're so diverse and they're not interactive. But you've got 20,000 loyal, strong followers. And the reason why I know that is because I look at the amount of comments and likes that you get per photo. The engagement's outrageous.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like they're really narrowed into you and your brand. And so I'm excited for today's masterclass to kind of be about how to grow that engagement and not just have followers being a check mark that you can say, oh, I've reached this as a benchmark or anything like that, but more of like, how do you actually monetize that? And how do you make a brand, not just a high follower account?
Absolutely. And, a high follower account, like you said, means useless. And a brand that can stand in a way where someone can provide value to your following is worth more. I'd rather have 2,000 loyal followers than 20,000 people that don't really know who I am.
So true. I've personally felt this pain where this is like 3 or 4 years ago, right when that like for like phase was
brutal.
coming in, where like you have to like exchange coins for likes and all that kind of crap. And I quickly grew to like something like 5,000 followers in like a month. It was nuts. But yet I was still getting like 100 likes on a photo.
Yeah.
And it was just like, now I feel kind of lame because it's like when people look at my profile, they expect to see like, this guy has hundreds of likes a photo. And it's like, I'm still like, only my core friends are liking my stuff. And I feel like I have a whole bunch of bots that are following me now. And it just makes me look weird. Like I paid for it or something.
Absolutely. And when that started to come out, I noticed a few of the accounts that were growing extremely fast. And then Instagram did a big clean a couple of years ago. I think it was just after that whole bot thing came into play. And you just saw accounts that had like 15, 20,000 followers come down to like 1,000. I saw one that went from like, it was 25,000 followers and it came down to about like 750 overnight as soon as they did the clean from those bots. And I was like, that is not a good position to be in.
That's hilarious. I think I lost a good 500 to 1,000. Yeah. That's great, man. Well, before we get started, I'm going to share my screen here and encourage everybody to go out and follow Rohan here. He's got, 20.8. And Rohan, you had another account that's about to push over the 100,000 mark. Which one's that?
Oh, First Class Mob.
First Class Mob, like that?
Yeah. Yep, that one right there.
Yeah, guys. So let's push this one to 100,000 here, huh?
Let's push it.
I'm sure next time, when we release this here in about a week or two, it'll probably already be over that. But yeah, man. So guys, go ahead, follow. And I'd love to kind of open up the floor here for Rohan to maybe tell us a little bit about like the bird's eye view of when you look at Instagram, what do you see?
When I look at Instagram, when it first came out, I honestly didn't understand it. It was one of those things where I was just like, what is this picture posting platform that, this is before even Instagram was acquired by Facebook. When I first got created my first account, I just thought it was like, going out for dinner or going whatever, post pictures with your girlfriend at the time or whatever, and just having a good time. But it took me a long time to actually understand the power behind it and the power behind the influencer play. And the biggest thing that made me realize it was the client that we talked about was when we got them featured with Casey Neistat last summer, and they blew up, and we were watching the Google Analytics. I was like, this is insane. And obviously to build a YouTube following is a completely different play. And I saw Instagram as being the gold mine at that point, even though there was tons of influencers like Millionaire Mentor, Motivation Mafia, all these other big pages that are out there. I was like, it's still on its climb, because at that point, I think it was about 500 million users. I can't remember I should have looked it up today. We could look it up in a bit, but what their current user base is, and they're growing at an exponential rate, and probably faster than any other social media platform out there. Now, yes, you see a lot of the other pages that are, promoting different things. So the bird's eye view behind it, you got to understand, if you're in business and you're not on Instagram, you don't have a following. Number one, if you have there's two different ways to look at it. There's personal brand, and then there's also influencer brand. So like my personal brand is at 20,000 followers. Personal brand is probably going to be one of the hardest things to grow, because people want to follow, hot chicks or nice cars or quotes or whatever that is. That's the influencer play. Now, from that influencer play, you can grow your personal brand, and the ones that follow you there are the ones that are going to be your loyal followers forever, and we can convert them into email lists and different things. We can talk about that. Now, overview on the personal brand. Overview on the personal brand and the bird's eye view is you can grow a following to a point where people can start reaching out to you. I personally get about 30 messages a day from my personal page that people are looking for coaching, right? Just in the personal play alone. We'll talk about some of the clients that we've landed from there alone. On the influencer play. Now, what the influencer play has helped me do is help me control traffic. Okay, that's the bird's eye view, and I'll go more into depth with that. So whether you're running an e-commerce business, whether you're running a product launch, whether you're running an email list that you want to promote through a JVZoo or a ClickBank or something like that, you control traffic. On Facebook, you can control traffic by ad spend, but this, just with a little bit of sweat equity, you can build a following where you can tell people to do what you want them to do.
Yeah, and it's organic. Like, you don't have to pay for that, which is pretty cool. It's almost like having an email list, right? Like, you own it in a way.
Absolutely. You own it. It is on another platform. I mean,
Right.
that platform could be gone, but as long as you're creating that platform and, pushing them to your Snapchat or to your YouTube channel or to your Facebook page or something like that, so you're around their ecosystem, but it's one of the fastest ones that you can build up in today's day and age.
So true. So true. And so, how many Instagram accounts do you manage at one time?
Our company currently manages, I think right now, after we sold a few, I think we currently manage 8 off the top of my head. That's not including mine. So if you include mine, it's about 9. It'll be 9. I could be wrong, because we've sold a few, and then there's a few on the line for sale too. So.
Okay, cool. And so I think later in the call, we'll kind of talk about the tools that you're using for automation and scheduling and stuff like that. But when we look at content creation, what do you know how to, what do you post for your followers? What's going into the strategy behind, like, knowing the objective of them buying or reaching out or whatever the objective is? How do you know what to post to get them to do that thing?
So at the end of the day, now let's kind of go. If you're going, do you want to talk about influencer play first? Or you want to talk about personal brand play first?
Let's talk about personal brand, and then we'll go into influencer after that.
Personal brand play first. Now you gotta figure out what niche you're in. Are you a marketer? Are you from a marketing standpoint, are you a digital marketer that's looking for small businesses? Are you an affiliate marketer? Are you are you in the MLM space online and want to control that? Are you going into e-com? So it's all based on what you want to do. For me specifically, I run an agency. That's my core business. So what I ended up doing was I wanted to make sure that my following, doesn't matter if they're not going to be clients or not, I wanted to know if someone searches my name, they see that I'm providing the value. My personal brand is providing the value in the marketing space and talking to all kinds of marketing businesses, because we run everything from e-com to affiliate to small businesses. So that's kind of what I've done and the kind of the content that I've started to curate and put together. Yes, there's photo shoots involved and all that stuff, and we can talk about when you should be doing that. But right after that, as long as you're providing the value from a standpoint and the knowledge that your ideal prospect is looking for on there, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so you said you get like 30 messages a day. That's incredible. So you've seen a dramatic ROI from having a personal account with a lot of followers.
In client retainers alone, I think I've seen over, like, probably right now, I could get you the exact number, but it's definitely over 10 grand a month.
Damn. That's pretty cool. You guys hear that? Like, think about what 10 grand a month could do by investing a little bit into Instagram and that marketing play. You can get retainers, and that's not just a one-time 10 grand. That's every single month. Of course, there's work involved. That's not passive, but at the same time, that's really cool. You know, I think the reason why you first joined 6K Success was the LinkedIn play. This could be just on par with LinkedIn, maybe even higher. I'm not sure, but definitely Instagram is worth, putting a lot of equity, a lot of sweat equity into.
100%. And that's what it comes down to. A lot of people look at it like, oh my God, he's got 20,000 followers, or he's got 100,000 followers on this page, or whatever it comes down to. But the number one thing that most people don't realize is the sweat equity that goes into it. And in business, there's two things that we're going to always run with, right? You're either going to have to give up time, or you're going to have to give up money. And in this place, if you don't have the budget to run a $5,000 or $10,000 a month ad campaign or anything more than that, put some sweat equity into building your Instagram following and your personal brand. Start giving the value out there. That in itself will start to come back.
Totally. And so, guys, remember that when we're talking about Instagram right now, we're talking about the organic side. We're not talking about going into Facebook Ads Manager and clicking Instagram as one of the display platforms. We're talking about posting every day, building up an audience, doing that on Instagram's platform itself, not paying for likes or anything like that.
That's exactly. This has nothing to do with running Instagram ads in the back end, which we do a ton of, but this is completely an organic play.
Okay, cool. And let's now talk about the influencer play. How does that work?
So the influencer play, you got to figure out a niche that you want to go after. You want, as long as you see, a lot of the pages you currently see are in the motivational space with their quotes and everything else, or they're in the luxury space. Cars is one. If you're in a sporting niche is one. Travel is a huge one. You got to figure out the niche that you want to become an influencer in, and then just make sure you're curating content so that that's the type of people that you're following. Right? If you're in the travel space and you're posting stuff about cars, you're not really on the same wavelength as what both of them want to. But as long as you're posting stuff that's related to travel, like you could be posting stuff about a car, like if there's a wicked car somewhere in Asia, somewhere that someone built because from their travel adventures and they traveled through Asia, sure, that's it. But don't post a Pagani on a page where you should be posting a Bora Bora picture.
Totally. I agree with that 100%. It has to be relevant to what they want to see every day, because Instagram is really an entertainment platform, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's literally an entertainment platform, and you're there to entertain with providing value. So edutainment, I guess, would be the kind of the same thing to go with.
I like that. Yeah. So, okay. And when you look at an influencer play, let's say that you had a client that was in the e-com niche. How would you look at which account to get to post for you as an influencer?
So let's say if you're in an e-com niche and let's say you're selling GoPro accessories, because you can get a ton of GoPro accessories on AliExpress or wherever you're building out your store from. So GoPro accessories, who's going to use GoPro accessories? Travel people are going to use GoPro accessories. That's actually this is a good example, because right off the top of my head, I could say travel people are going to use GoPro accessories. People that shoot car content are going to use GoPro accessories. Entrepreneurs are going to use GoPros for shooting in-car videos, or when they're out and about shooting videos. You've used it, I've used it. We'll be using a lot of it pretty soon in San Diego. Just figuring out how someone would use that e-com product that you're offering, and then go out there and start putting and posting the content, or asking people to post the content based around that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. And so do you have any rhyme or reason to when or what you post?
So there is definitely a specificity in playing. Now, Instagram's algorithm, I've come to a very close quarters of trying to like figure out how a new account runs versus an aged account. I knew that was an issue that I was running to in the beginning, because a lot of my newer accounts that were, within 1 to 3 months weren't getting featured on the feature page of Instagram. But my older accounts were hitting those numbers like crazy, and I couldn't figure it out. And I realized it was based on posting the number of times per day and scaling that. So new accounts, Instagram does not like you posting more than, I believe, right now we figured it out, it's more than around 3 times a day is their max. Once you hit about 3 to 6 month ratio, you can start posting four to 6 times a day. Once you're 6 to 12 months, ideally, if you have an account that's over 12 months old, you can get your hands on an account that's over 12 months old. Instagram loves aged accounts, and you can post as many times a day as possible. Now, there are peak hours during Instagram too. You got to figure out where your ideal clientele is, or where you're, what time zone are you posting? Are you trying to target someone in Thailand versus targeting someone in New York? There are different time zones. The hottest time zone to post is going to be 12 p.m., which is most people's lunchtime, is what I've noticed, or 3 p.m. in the afternoon when they're going home, when they're on their way to just about finishing work or leaving to go home, or 8 p.m. at night when people are just sitting on the couch watching a TV show. Because you and I both know, even though we're watching Netflix or whatever, we've still got our phone in our hand, and majority of the time we're scrolling through an Instagram newsfeed.
This is so true. And I've personally done a lot of research on this while growing one of my recent accounts. I'm building up an influencer account right now for one of my other companies. And when I was trying to figure out, I was putting together a whole schedule. I scheduled out like 250 posts like over the next 3 months. And I was looking at all of these different times, 8 p.m/9 p.m. That time is super hot. And then I always see 11 to 12. And then like the 3 p.m. is hot in specific niches that I've seen. And so that research I'm getting is right now just coming from a couple of these different like softwares that do blog posts. Yeah. So all day, every day, like their whole software is about scheduling. So they have all of that analytical data backing this up, guys. So write that down, 11 a.m., 11/12 p.m.
12, 3/4, and 8/9.
Yeah, those are great times to post. And so when you look at how often to schedule, you want to build that up. You don't want to just go all in and do 3 at a time. Probably start off slower and then build that up.
Start 1, then 2, then 3, then stay consistent with 3 for a while, and make sure you're posting at those times all the time, because you'll start to notice a lot of your likes at certain times are going to come from the exact same people, because that's their habit of going on Instagram at that time. Someone that you may see at 12 o'clock, you may not see at 8. And someone that you may see at 8, you may not see at 3. You just got to kind of figure out what's going on. And as you start to notice, you can start going for the morning rushes as well. The 6 a.m. rushes where people are waking up and going to work or stuck in traffic. And we all know, even though you're not supposed to be on your phone, you're probably still doing this, scrolling the Instagram newsfeed.
Yeah. And guys, remember, this is going with the idea that your followers are in your own time zone. And Instagram is a global platform. So when you post, it's also going to all the other time zones. So you should also kind of look at later on, once you have a lot of followers, figure out like when is the main followers time zones. So you might have UK, New York time zone EST, and then like the California, Vancouver time zone. And so sometimes they will overlap, but it might be a good idea to post at their peak hours. Yeah. So maybe the 12 p.m. for the UK, then EST, and then PST. That might be another strategy as well.
Yeah, I definitely do that a lot of the times. If I'm trying to get a hold of, the European time zone, I'm always posting my morning, their evening. Right. So because that's their time zone. If I want to go after, I love the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I'm in the Pacific, on the Pacific Standard Time Zone. Now, a lot of times I go off the Eastern Standard Time Zone because if you do it correctly, so here's one thing that I've realized. So if I do 12 p.m. Pacific, I'm hitting a 3 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. So I'm hitting 2 at one time.
Yep.
Right. So you got to, if you play it properly, you can do it. Now, 12 p.m. Pacific is 3 p.m. Eastern, but it's also 8 p.m. in the UK.
Gotcha. Yep, that makes sense.
Now you're hitting 3 hot time zones at one time. You gotta figure out where your following is. Obviously, Instagram gives you all the data and all the analytics of where your following is, and just make sure you're posting to them and they're seeing it. Because the more they're engaging, the more Instagram is going to start featuring your content.
Mm-hmm. So true. And a lot of accounts, they have like several themes to them, right? Like they're not just like, sometimes it'll be only cars, right? Like they're just a car account all about probably Ferrari or Lamborghini or something like that. That's what they're all about. But then you got a lot of these influencers where there's kind of like a mix around like the core values of the person that would follow them. And so I'll share with you here an example on my screen of when I started creating my content. This is for one of my accounts called Remote CEOs. And these are like the main core values of a person who is a remote CEO. They like to travel. They like to see cool food. They're always on a computer, like a laptop with other people, and they like motivational quotes. And so this is this schedule in which I post all of my things. So on like for week one of the post, or for day one, week one, it'll be travel, and then food is the next one. And that's how I kind of go out. So when I schedule, this is like the calendar layout of what I look here. And then I post 3 times a day at these times. And so like 11 a.m. will be travel, 3 p.m. will be food, 7 p.m. will be a computer. And so that's kind of how I look at it. And then I did a little research here on hashtags that are most used by the person who looks at these things. Do you ever do hashtag research?
I love hashtag research. There's little thing that I'm going to kind of show you guys that help me scale some of these companies. You know, that hashtag research that you found, I'm sure you're posting it on probably majority of your posts or every single one of your posts.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the exact same one.
It is.
Yeah. If you create 3 of those, now what you're doing is every other picture you're posting different hashtags, so your account's being featured on different hashtags all the time. Because if you're only posting the same one every single time, you're limiting yourself from other hashtags. So let's say for your 7 a.m. post one set of your hashtags. For your 3, or for your 12 p.m. post another. For your 3, and then just keep posting it. And as long as you have 3 or 4 different sets of hashtags, your pages are going to be featured across all of those hashtags in the day. One of those hashtags will go viral, and that's what helps the exponential growth.
Wow, that's incredible. Great advice. I definitely got to do that. And so I guess probably one of the questions that everybody's thinking right now is, so how do you do hashtag research?
Yeah. Well, hashtag research comes down to knowing your niche, right? Once you know your niche and you go after it, just start searching hashtags. Spend, like anything we talk about on this call, it's going to take some sweat equity. It's going to take some time. Put some time and effort into it. Start searching. So if you're going after the travel niche, start just different spots to do. You go Thailand, you go Bangkok. If you're in France, you go Paris. If you're in London, or if you're in the UK, you go London. If you're in the States, you go San Diego or New York. Figure it out and just start searching, and then you start to see the ones that are ranking that have the most amount of hashtags. Those are hot hashtags. And make sure you're posting them in your comments. And when you're posting hashtags, make sure it looks clean. A lot of the ways you'll see some of my posts do it is I'll write the caption. I'll probably write 4 hashtags in that, like 4 hashtags to match the picture. And then in my post at the bottom, if you go to my personal page, we do this one a little bit differently.
Okay.
The influencer pages. If you go to my page, a lot of them you'll see the caption, and then you'll see 3 to 4 hashtags, and then you'll see ... which is a comment, and then I'll post those hashtags there.
Right. So I'm looking here. You posted the original. Here's the original post, right? Like here's the original caption, and then you wrote another caption right away.
And then in the comments. So that's what it's showing you is in my comment. So I'm the first person to comment as soon as I post it. I'll put the ... and then I'll put the rest of it. So when I look at it on my phone, let me pull it up here. When you look at it on my phone, it looks way cleaner than it would just being that guy that kind of looks like a spammy hashtagger.
So true. Yeah, and guys, the ... what that does is it pushes the hashtags down, so it's out of sight. It looks clean. You want to show that one more time?
Yep. Give me 1 second here. So as you can see, there's the caption. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's the caption. and the caption's got the 4 hashtags that pertain to the picture. And then as soon as I hit the comments part of it, give me one sec here. As soon as I hit the comments part of it, the first comment is me. And I just put the dot dot, so it pushes it down. So it makes the image look cleaner, and the aesthetics, which is huge because Instagram is all based around the aesthetics and how your page looks. It's not looking like a spammy page.
Yeah. And look at that number, guys, 994 likes.
Yeah. 64 likes. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay, cool. And so the way I've done hashtag research is I'll start looking at other influencers that are also chasing the niche that I would be chasing. And I just kind of look at what are they commenting and what's in their caption, because obviously the top influencers are doing their research. And so you can start to develop and see what are the commonalities. And often, like, let's say it's like hashtag entrepreneurs with an S at the end is also right up there at the top. So often having the plural version of a hashtag will reach more people, and they're separate. Like they're totally different channels.
Yeah.
So that's a way to increase your breadth.
And like that's kind of exactly what we're talking about. So like one of your posts put hashtag entrepreneur, and then the next post put hashtag entrepreneurs, because you don't want to be you want to try and keep it as clean as possible and use different hashtags for each post.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's move on. Now that we have the hashtags, we have the idea for the content that we're creating. How do we actually go out there and start posting? Do you use any software that's developing or creating posts for you?
Yeah, so in the first, what I suggest people in the first beginning stages of your page, of your account, until you have about 500 to 1,000 followers, do it manually. Because Instagram picks up on algorithms that are being used by softwares and other things like that. Do it manually. Once you've gotten it scaled, and you're seeing 30, 40 followers a day. We did a test on First Class Mob where we was scaled the shit out of it, and then over the last probably like 3 weeks, we did another test to see how fast can we scale it with another strategy, and it failed absolutely horrendously because Instagram didn't like it, and we were losing followers like crazy as well. And now we're back to using the original strategy. So now we've been testing. Once you've got that, once you've figured it out, okay, I'm gaining speed and I'm gaining followers. I just use a simple software. I don't like a lot of softwares for Instagram because I know there's going to come a point where they're going to kick some of these softwares because the follow and unfollow and all that crap does not work too well. One of the ones that I use is Grum, Grum. Funny enough, it was suggested to me by AppSumo, one of the emails that they sent out, and I just bought it and tested it out, and I was like, this thing works phenomenal. I know you use, I think it's Ladder and some of your other platforms that you could share with the guys that you use, and that's what I'd suggest.
Yeah, so I use Later here, which basically allows me to put all my posts into an actual schedule. So you can see here along the way at between right around that 11 to 12 mark, and then like 7 to 8 p.m. mark, I've posted here. And since this is a new account, I'm only posting twice a day, but it'll go up later, obviously. Yeah. And one of the things that I do like about this app is the preview mode. So in this mode, I can actually almost, like, for example, look into the future and see what my feed will actually look like based on what's in the scheduled queue. I like this a lot because sometimes, you will want it to have a certain look. And so I can actually take this and drag and drop it, and it'll automatically change the scheduled time to post it at the correct time along with the rest of the collage.
That's pretty cool. I haven't even seen this before, but I'm definitely going to be we're all learning. So thanks, Austin, for this phenomenal software.
Totally, man. And so you can look at, the week view and then the month view here. And then I also like the ability to, somewhere around here, I can search up people or whoever. I can look up by hashtags, any of this, and I can actually click on, so I have no idea what I'm clicking on, but you can actually click on here and then repost it automatically somehow. I don't know. I'm not quick on the fly. But yeah, you can actually repost something that you've searched. So if you're looking for ways to get content, but you just don't have like a nice camera or, whatever, this is one way to do it where you can repost other people's stuff. And I don't know, Rohan, what's your opinion on like copywriting on Instagram photos?
So the big thing, Instagram does not like. Obviously, nobody. Copywriting is one of those things you got to be careful no matter what business you're in. If you're going to use somebody else's photo, just give them credit. Just give them credit. And even if it's a big page, it's going to come back to you because the other page may come back. And if they've got a big following and they like that picture, now it shows up in their feed that they like it. They've liked your picture. Your page may be small, but the influencer page may boost your likes because someone may be searching, oh, what has so-and-so liked? What has First Class Mob liked? Let me go follow that account. There's a reason why they've liked it. But all you've done is give them credit.
Totally. Yeah, that's a really good, rule of thumb. And so how do you give credit? You just say like, original poster.
Just like the picture emoticon or whatever it's called. And then I just put the person's username based on that from wherever I took the page from. And sometimes, you know what, you may have to do a little bit of research because I've run into a couple situations where I thought it was one person's image, but it actually wasn't when the person messaged me saying, hey, this is my image. And then, just apologize and then fix your caption.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So now we know what to post and we know some strategies for scheduling. We're at this point, we're like developing content for our Instagram account. How do we grow a following?
How do you grow a following? That staying consistent, posting consistently is going to be your number one thing to grow a following. Making sure you're using the correct hashtags, making sure your pictures are high quality pictures. Do not use low res pictures. You guys will go through some of my images from back in the day. I should probably go delete them, but you know what? I'd rather see growth than kind of make it look perfect. Some of the images that we use are absolutely horrendous, and we notice a big difference between them. And making sure that your engagement is on point, because the biggest thing that the Instagram algorithm starts to notice, at least that I've noticed the last little bit, is as your engagement starts to pick up, there's higher chances of you being featured on the Instagram feature page.
And let's go into what the feature page is for a lot of people that don't know about the Instagram world.
So when you're on Instagram, let me just pull it up here. So when you're on Instagram, you have your news feed, as you guys can see. The new Instagram Snap Stories are up top, and you got your news feed, and then you have the search feature. And a lot of the times, Instagram will say, things you may like, and being on this page is where you want to be, and having your images show up on here, because people scroll this just as much, if not more, than they scroll their own pages, because they're looking for other pictures to like or other pages to follow.
Wow, that's gold. So how do you get on that?
Just making sure that you're staying consistent with your posting, making sure you're engaging. You've got an engagement, like a following of people that are engaging your content properly. I see other Instagram. How do we put this in a nice way? I see other Instagram influencers, like you say, that have got 15, 20,000 followers, but their engagement is absolutely horrendous. If someone comments and you have the time, go back and answer to them.
Do you comment? So I often get like, I can kind of tell they're robots or something like that. That they only post like an emoji or just like nice exclamation point, totally generic. I think that they're probably posting it on a ton of other Instagram accounts too. Do you respond to those just to be engaging?
If I've got some time, if I'm killing time waiting for something, yeah, because at the end of the day, Instagram wants to see you're engaging back. And yes, even some of my comments on a daily basis are, you can kind of get used to it and see like, okay, there's a lot of bots out there, but that's because my pictures are getting featured a lot of the times. But the ones that actually have something proper to say, take your time, take an extra 2 minutes to reply back to them and give them some value. And you'll notice those are the people that will message you in your Instagram DMs and say, like they either want to just connect with you or they want to do business with you or something that will come from there, just that extra minute or two to go respond back to them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. And you've been featured several times. How do you know when you get featured?
Your images will just blow up.
Like
Was that
hundreds of followers a
yeah,
second.
literally there was one day one of my pictures got featured on the Instagram feature page or whatever the hell they call it off the top of my head. I can't remember right now. And in one day I grew 2,500 followers or something silly. It was over 2,000 followers in one day. It was nuts. And my picture had like some of the pages that like some of the, let me pull up one here for you on one of our other pages, video, like viral videos. We've been doing a ton of testing with video recently, and oh my God, hasn't been blown up.
So you're using video on Instagram as another way to market, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think recently, this is like brand new as of maybe a week or two ago, the slideshows?
I actually haven't even tested it yet, to tell you the honest truth.
Yeah, I think that could be huge, especially in the real estate niche. I can imagine the real estate niche when you're showing a house or you're posting a new house and being able to swipe right on a photo and see more photos of that collection, you could say.
It's going to be huge.
Huge.
E-commerce is going to be huge because you can show different angles of your product, houses, inside, outside, price or whatever. But going back to videos here, let me show you an example. So this is one of my other pages where I'm going to be spending a lot of time on once it hits about 100K followers. It's called Classy Mentor. Pretty cool username. Making sure you have a good username. Like, yeah, my first class mob one, that one blew up. This one's at about 60,000 followers or so. And you can see most of my pictures, like this one's got 2,300. I don't know if you can see that. The one above it's got another 2,300. So we're around the same 1,800. So you can see as long as you're between about 1 to 3% is what I usually like to say is good engagement based on your following. But here's a video. So it's just a picture of cub meeting their dad for the first time at the zoo. And that video went viral and got featured and it hit 18,000 people like the video.
Wow. Yeah, and I really like how on video, it'll be based on views and not by likes. And so that actually makes it even more appealing, you could say, is like more people have viewed it rather than press the like button because it doesn't even show who likes it unless you click on that, right? Click on that number.
Click on that actual number, yeah. There was one that we had that hit like 150,000 in one day, which was absolutely nuts. When you see numbers like that, that's when you know you've hit feature page. Here's one at 108. Oh yeah, this one's good. This one 108,000 views of a Porsche 918 backing into a Porsche 911.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of stuff. It's creating engaging content. And this is for the influencer pages. That's one of the ones that I went down. It's a bit of a mixture of content on that, going back to the niching, but the content that I'm going down, it's Classy Mentor. We're building a brand around it. I've finally managed to acquire the domain as well. You guys will start seeing a lot more of it, and it's just being classy. And that's the kind of niche that we went down. So cars, watches, whiskeys, wines, all that good stuff, travel, but being the classy. So just little things like that, but it's engaging. So that's part of the reason why too, it's been working so well for us.
Okay. Awesome, man. Yeah. I think that's really great advice. So do you use any automations? We talked about Grum, you said? Grum. Okay. What does that do for you? What kind of automation is that?
It's just for me to post, because now at a point where we have so many accounts that we're running. So it's just like kind of like later, like you're using, but a simpler version of it. And we just schedule our posts into it.
Is it only a scheduler or are you also having this thing follow and like other pages?
No, that's it. It's just a scheduler. So all we use it for. If you want to use some of the things that we've been using on the inside is creating engagement groups. And maybe we can create one for the Entrepreneur Alliance guys, creating an engagement group within Instagram where, as soon as you post a picture, this is one of the few things this is something we can go more in depth on another call if we want to, but I don't want to kind of talk about it because it'll confuse the crap out of people. But we can start it up and I'll help you run it, is within Instagram, you can create an engagement group, have everybody in there. And as soon as you post something, we can have a word that says EA or something that means you've posted your picture. So everybody in that group should go and like it, and it helps boost it. It has to be done within I've noticed in the first 10 minutes, as long as you have your group goes and likes it, it helps boost that initial gain. And then that's when you start to see the followers and everything else come through. or even comment. You can do an engagement group that's a comment group, and making sure, like, not bot kind of comments, but actually like meaningful comments that matter. We can do some things like that as well.
Totally. So I'm actually a part of an engagement group myself, and I'll try and bring it up here. But basically what we do is when we post a bunch of emojis, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just like we just, basically notify everybody that we have posted. We then go and like that person. So you can see here that this person just posted a bunch of emojis, and then they also shared the post. So you can press on that little, it looks like a paper airplane.
Yeah.
You can click on that and then share it to this group in a DM.
Yeah.
And that way I can easily click on it. And then what we have as a qualification, like if you're in this group, make sure everybody is involved. But we have like a minimum of 3 words. You have to post 3 words to make it a qualifying post.
Post.
Yeah.
And you could just use an emoji, like a thumbs up emoji or a high five emoji. It's pointless, even though I see a lot of it and I know where it's coming from, but you can't control a lot of that. But if you create an engagement group that's actually people taking this shit seriously, it will help a lot.
Yeah. Well, just the guy who started this one, he put a little research into it, and he said that Instagram's algorithm is saying you have to, like, they don't want just a 1 word or whatever because of kind of what we were talking about. These bots are out there that are doing this to hundreds of people, thousands of people a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I do actually have a software that's running right now on one of my accounts, and I'll share it here real quick. This is totally a trial. This is not me endorsing it. This is not me getting paid for it or anything like that. I'm just, giving it a shot. It was a guy by the name of Luke McGuire, and he owns this account here, this software called InstaEasy. And basically what it does is I have this enabling likes and follows. And so like today, for example, it's liked 143 photos. It's followed 250 people, and it follows based on these hashtags.
Okay.
And it likes based on these hashtags.
That's awesome.
So it'll go down these hashtags and like everything, all of the posts on this hashtag. And I've personally have grown by probably 600 followers in the last couple days. Okay. And this week probably by about 1,000. That's
unreal.
Yeah. But then again, I've also followed a good 4,000 this week. So it's like, that's not as, sexy or whatever, but I also have it, where it's like following people and like people's photos based on this stuff here. So I can actually, I typed in here a bunch of profiles that are related to my profile, and it'll follow people based on this stuff, like the points guy, remote awards, etc. You can do it by geolocation or pictures liked in a certain area. So if let's say that you're a Jamaica travel company where you're trying to get people who are in Jamaica to rent Sea-Doos from you, then you should say, if they're in Jamaica, go like them and comment about, renting a Sea-Doo from you. That'd be a great way to use this.
You notice a lot of the people that are like Vegas promoters. I noticed that I was in Vegas last weekend and I posted a picture saying I was going to Vegas, and I hashtagged that, and that was like 90% of my comments, and that's probably what they're doing from that. But as long as, don't be the spammy asshole, like I always say to people, make sure you do it in a classy way.
Definitely. So, I mean, this is not about, just trying to throw pickles at the wall and see what sticks. It's about really trying to make true engagement, having a conversation, not just a post.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So again, I don't know how well this thing is going to work. I like how it'll also unfollow for me.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. It's I don't want this thing to just go out and follow a ton of people, and now I'm stuck with, thousands of followers. You can max out at 7,000 following. So you can only follow 7,000 people. So I like how this thing will also do the automation of unfollowing based on people who are not engaging with me.
Not engaging, following, or liking any of your stuff, which is
So
I'm not.
I don't want it to unfollow people that are liking my stuff. So I want it only to be ghost followers, as you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, to each their own in the sense. I'm not a fan of softwares like that because I don't know what it's going to do, and I've not tested it. To be completely honest with you, I like the sweat equity part of things because if you put in the time and effort, and yes, it is a little bit of a longer growth period. You're going to see the returns on it. I'm already seeing the returns on it phenomenally well. But if you're in a situation where you can use stuff like that and it works really, really well, test it out. And if it works and you can see the results, keep using it. And if you don't, stop.
Totally. I love it, man. And so one of the other biggest ways to grow a following is to pay other influencers to shout you out as well.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that we use. We did a big feature with Millionaire Mentor over the month of January to see how fast we can scale it, and it helped. It is expensive, but I didn't start that way. I didn't start paying for shout outs till I was personally at about 5,500 followers, which I built completely organically.
Yeah. So at what point would you recommend putting a little bit of money into this thing to try and make it pay off?
Once you hit about 1,000.
Okay.
Once you hit about 1,000 people follow, and once you hit about 1,000 followers, don't go after the big accounts right off the bat because like most accounts with over a million followers will probably charge you about $100 a post, which can get pretty damn pricey. So I would definitely keep it a lot simpler and keep it a lot cheaper than that, and go after ones that have got about 100,000 followers and start building your way up and going that route.
Yeah. Now, what do you know is like a fair price to pay for something like that?
Usually $1 for every 10,000 followers is like the number that I like to go for.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair amount. Yeah, so that's interesting. And a lot of people make their living off of being a social promoter.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I've met some kids on here that are like 14, 15 years old that are making more money than I would ever imagine making at 14, 15 years old just by posting pictures. I was like, this is craziness.
That's insane. So, I mean, guys, this could even be a side hustle if you took it seriously. Like that kind of following doesn't happen overnight, and it's not easy to maintain. It's really easy to fall off a cliff if you are kind of like showed off as a sellout or whatever when you're posting too many affiliate offers. But you know, it's about making sure that your posts are relevant to their people, not just trying to go after who has a ton of followers, but make sure who has a ton of followers that are engaged and in your niche. You know, that's a big thing, is making sure that they're relevant people.
100%. And going back to buying the right following, I completely endorse it because I've used it, and we've tested it with some of our clients where we've had big pages. We've paid them to post. Let's say if you're running a webinar, we did a test for a webinar for a client, and we had big pages, promote during about a 2.5 hour, like to 2.5 to 3 hour time period where they were promoting to register for a webinar. And we saw an influx of registrations that came in from paid posts than we even did from Facebook because it was such a close test and people actually showed up to the webinar. Instagram was higher versus Facebook, but then you also got to figure out going back and making sure you're targeting the right niche and the right people.
Yeah, totally. Like you have no idea who's jumping on that webinar, right? Yeah. I would love to see maybe some conversion metrics of like from what source, they came from, whether it was paid traffic, organic, like on your own Instagram, and then affiliate Instagram accounts of where you got Millionaire Mentor to do a shout out, and like who attended the webinar and then who actually bought on that webinar, and see maybe like,
I'm actually doing a test on that right after I get back from traffic and conversion. I've got a bunch of shout outs set up for a webinar process that we're going to be going through. And it's something that we're going to be doing. So maybe we can circle back around down the road and give some numbers later on once we do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool because, what I've noticed is that like maybe 90% of your likes come within the first hour of posting.
Yeah. Right.
And then like 10% come from like trickling later. I don't know. I could be a little off on that, but like most of them.
It's
right?
about 80-20. It goes back to the 80-20 rule again. 80% of it's within the first hour and a half, and then the rest of it's throughout the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that would be a great strategy for webinars, is to maybe do a paid post on a big page in your niche right before the webinar starts. And it is a little more expensive for somebody to put your link in their bio, right? Like that's an upsell.
So it goes by just getting them to follow you, then it's a caption, then it's an image and a caption, then it's image, caption, and link in bio. And then if you want, and that's pretty much you owning the entire territory for that amount of time. So the more you want, the more you're going to pay for, but then you also got to see what are you getting on the back end.
Yeah. So let's even say, guys, that like it was a $500 charge to get Millionaire Mentor or whoever to promote you for, an hour or two with the link in bio. Like that could be a huge influx of people attending your webinar. And heck, if you're selling a $997 product, you only need one person to make that money back.
If you're doing another thing we haven't talked about, shout outs too works in such a way. A lot of the shout outs are negotiated by a 24-hour time frame. So if you're buying a shorter time frame, the amount you pay for the shout out's a lot less.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. And as we're looking more into like how to monetize your own account, you've gotten a following now, you have the right group of audience listening and watching and liking your stuff every day. What's the next step? How do you make sure that you get what you've reaped?
It comes to a point where adding the next level of sweat equity to it, you've probably built a habit of posting, you built the consistency of it. Now it's starting to reach out and do the old LinkedIn method, as you talked about at the beginning of this call, is reaching out to other influencers or reaching out to other e-commerce businesses and saying, hey, have you tested out Facebook ads, or have you tested out Google ads or SEO, depending on what you're selling, based on that. And, you'd be surprised the amount of businesses that have big followings on Instagram that don't do Facebook correctly. I've got right now, there's a guy that manages a huge account on Instagram that's coming out with a e-com business and has zero clue how to run Facebook ads. And we're going to close him on a $2,500 a month retainer. That I just reached out and said, hey, dude, I see you doing an e-com promo. Have you done Facebook ads? So he's like, I don't even know how to run a Facebook ad. Got into a conversation with him. Next thing you know, he's going to be a client starting the 15th of March.
Amazing, right? Like that's awesome. And a lot of your leads probably are inbound, right?
A ton of it now are inbound, where you have to start, the outbound, but there comes a point where you've built a following where people will just reach out to you. And as long as your content and your following match and your value that you're providing to your audience matches, people will start reaching out to you to take them on as clientele.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Cool, man. And so what would you recommend for anybody just now thinking about starting an account and monetizing it? Like what recommendations would you have for them?
I would suggest don't try monetizing it until you're at least at about 10 to 15,000 followers on an influencer page, because you're not going to make any money. Go out there and provide the massive amounts of value first. Build the page. You should not, if you even use what we've taught you on this call, you should be able to get a page upwards on an influencer page, upwards of 10,000 followers in a month to 2 months, as long as you're staying consistent with it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, man. Well, as we wrap up here, Rohan, I would love to kind of just, get some more thoughts from you on entrepreneurship. Like, what does it mean to be a marketer? What does it mean to be, the guy that's online making your money? Why did you choose this niche? Why did you, choose to be this Rohan guy who's incredible at content creation? And what made you pursue that goal?
It's funny enough, I was one of those things where I think entrepreneurship is, it can be taught a lot of the times. A lot of people say they can't be taught. You have to have an internal hunger. A lot of, the biggest thing is people want to chase the passion versus the purpose. That's what I always talk about, is passion versus purpose. If you're just passionate about it, you're not going to do it. But if you have an internal purpose, you're going to want to do it 10 times better. Right? For me, it came down to a point where I realized that when I was going to school to be a pilot was just a passion, and that's why I didn't want to do it. But building a business and learning to serve and learning to sell was more of a purpose that I saw that I was getting fulfilled from. And that's where my entrepreneurship spirit came into play. Digital marketing was one of those things that, you call it luck, you call it whatever. I definitely don't call it luck, but a lot of other people do. Is I just stumbled upon it at the right time. And, it's still the right time. A lot of people say they've missed the boat. You definitely haven't missed the boat in the digital space. We're not even scratched the surface yet with some of these other platforms that are coming out to play. It's literally digging internally within you and giving it everything you've got to be a true entrepreneur, and just don't give up, right? Like, a lot of people look at any one of us and say, oh, you made it overnight. Nah, I did not make it overnight. I started in sales in 2008. We're here 9 years later, and this is what it's come. It's taken me 9 years to get to this point. I was literally hidden underground for 2.5 years of me building my company, not posting any content, and just hustling every single day, sales calls in and sales calls out, to build the business.
Yep. Guys, I'll tell you what, I have learned so much from Rohan here over the years, just connecting with him. And, he's great for me getting on a sales call or whatever. He'll help me, lock down a client, or, give a strategy session. And I'm sure now that you've gotten a little bit busier, maybe you're doing that a little less. But I know that over the last, 2 years or whatever that we've been connected, it has been great here being your friend and business partner and learning from you every day. Like today, I got a ton of value out of this call, and I'm sure everybody else here at the Entrepreneur Alliance has as well. So if anybody ever wanted to reach out to you, I know that you are a member of EA and you are sometimes commenting and, creating content in our Facebook group, but what is like a way that you would prefer people to reach out to you?
The easiest way to reach out to me is Facebook. You can either message me on Facebook or add me and message me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. I check my Instagram DMs probably at least once a day, if not once every other day. Just message me, and as soon as I get a chance, I'll definitely reach out to you. If you're going to be somewhere at an event where EA is and I'm there, I look forward to meeting all of you guys in person. You guys at EA have done a phenomenal job. I couldn't even say, I think I tell you that all the time, and what you guys are creating every time I get on a phone call with you, Austin. And it's just awesome to see the Entrepreneur Alliance, as you guys call it, that you guys are growing, because this is going to be a worldwide phenomenon in the next 2 years. I can definitely see it.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate that. And, right now, EA Local is huge for us. It's the next big step. While everybody else is trying to get online, we're trying to get offline, and we're trying to make this thing in person, home event style, where we're hanging out, masterminding, doing cocktail hours every month, like making business more fun, almost like if BNI had a cool little brother. Like that's kind of what we want to be. And so I'm excited for when we get Vancouver launching. It's actually one of our pilot cities. Okay. So what part of Vancouver are you in when you look at the metropolis?
I'm in one of the suburbs. It's called Langley. It's about 30 minutes away from downtown. So I could be anywhere from where I live, I could be anywhere in about 45 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, I think that'd be awesome to get you out there to one of those EA Local events and maybe have you speak or something like that, and mastermind with the crew. But Absolutely. Okay. Good stuff, guys. Well, I really appreciate your time, Rohan, and we'll kind of sign off here. But guys, this was another great masterclass with the Entrepreneur Alliance. Be sure to attend next week's training because every single week on Wednesdays or Thursdays, we always release a new training. And so they just keep getting better and better, guys. This is probably the best training I think that we've ever had. And so I'm looking for the next one as well. Anyway, guys, continue to dream big, believe big, and achieve big. I'm signing off here, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you on the inside.